Mass emigration and military call-ups prompted by Russia's invasion of Ukraine are causing labour shortages across the country. Some firms are turning to foreign workers to try and plug the gaps, sparking online rumours and disinformation campaigns about a massive migrant influx into Ukraine. DW's Nimisha Jaiswal reports.
It's been 2 years since Karnail Singh moved to Ukraine. He's not new to working abroad. He spent 16 years working as a driver in Oman. But things are different this time.
I've come here alone. My wife and 3 children are at home. I haven't been home even once since I moved here. When I worked in Muscat, I visited home every 6 to 8 months. I will go. It's up to God when I get to go.
Singh is among 21 Indian workers at this production firm in the western Chernivtsi region. None of them have been home since they moved here. With no flights out of Ukraine, transiting through a neighboring country is too expensive and time-consuming. Chernivtsi has so far been relatively unaffected by the war, and the workers say they aren't afraid. The wages here are far higher than in India. Many here paid over 5,000 euros to an Indian agent to get here. They would have to pay more than twice as much to move to Western Europe. It's not a simple choice.
I'd tried to work elsewhere. I'd applied to go to Canada, but they refused to give me a visa, as did Australia. I've now been here for 15 days. The financial situation at home is not good, so I had to come here.
These men are among around 9,500 migrant workers registered in Ukraine as of May 2026. Yet, AI-generated images and headlines like these warn of an onslaught of millions of migrant workers, while Ukrainian men die on the front lines. Disinformation experts say these could well be a product of Russian propaganda, looking to sow outsized fears around a real economic issue. But fears around immigration seem to have some resonance online and in small protests like this one in Kyiv.
We're absolutely opposed to this migration of people from third countries who will not assimilate, who will not learn our language and culture.
If we let this happen, we'll lose our country. These are people who have neglected their own country, so naturally, they certainly won't look after ours.
The organizers of this protest say they are not falling for Russian propaganda. They argue this is not about race, but about prioritizing Ukrainian workers over immigrants. But experts say it might not be so simple.
To put it simply, I'm sure that even those people who were at this protest, if they were offered a job on a building site instead of working in a warm office, I don't think any of them would agree to that job.
Ukraine faces structural unemployment. Many of those seeking work do not want to do the kinds of jobs available. Yet, serious deficits persist.
There's an exodus of millions of people abroad, mobilization, a complex demographic situation. Every year, the number of elderly people increases, and fewer people are being born. And in such circumstances, Ukrainian business needs a workforce, and we need ordinary blue-collar workers. There's a shortage of builders, welders, plumbers, bricklayers, energy workers.
The government says it is retraining women, veterans, and internally displaced Ukrainians to fill the gaps. But businesses say it's not enough. There's no influx of foreign workers either. The number of migrant work permits issued by Ukraine has fallen sharply since the start of the war. And even these don't represent the actual numbers, as many permits are cancelled over bureaucratic checks and hurdles. At the firm we visited, over 90% of the workers are Ukrainian. We are told they were prioritized to fill the vacancies caused by the war. Yet, the firm has had to hire some migrant workers in the last 2 years to meet production targets.
Ukraine comes first for us. And for Ukraine, undoubtedly one of the most important aspects is the economy. Our experience shows that bringing in migrants does not do any harm, neither for the local community nor for manufacturers.
Away from the protests, opinions on migrant workers are more mixed.
The main thing for me is that they behave themselves and follow the rules of conduct. And then everything will be fine. We're a normal, friendly place.
It's good for the economy because many have died and I can't do this work. It's good for the economy, but yes, there are pros and cons.
The Indian workers we met say they try to create a sense of home here in Ukraine. Food helps, as do regular calls home. But staying away from loved ones is a high price to pay, making other European countries a more appealing destination. Ukraine will likely have to contest with that. With no end to the war in sight, experts warn the need for migrant workers is expected to rise, possibly leaving fertile ground for more Russian propaganda.
Let's explore this with Mikhail Alexeyev. He's Professor of Political Science at San Diego State University. His research focuses on Ukraine's democratic resilience in the face of Russia's military invasion. He's also author of the book Immigration Phobia and the Security Dilemma, Russia, Europe and the United States. Welcome to DW, Professor. What do the figures tell us? Do Ukrainians need to be worried about levels of immigration?
Well, let me say three things first. In response to these campaigns and these news reports. First of all, Ukraine is not a country swamped by waves of migration. That's very clear. We don't see boats going across channels. We don't see migrant placement camps and things like that. And the numbers, we're talking maybe in the thousands of labor migrants. We're not talking about any significant numbers. So that's point number one. Point number two, very important, is that the state is in control. It's not out of hand. We even saw in the news report that you just presented how even at the factory level, there is quite a lot of control, quite a lot of discerning of who to hire for these positions and prioritizing Ukrainians. We see that the legislation that triggered a lot of that disinformation about immigration in the last few days was actually designed to streamline the process and to make the management of migration more effective. So the state is quite strong and the chances that migrants would obey the rules are very high. Right. And thirdly, Ukraine is not a xenophobic country. We saw that even in a couple of interviews in the street, and also the data from my colleagues at the Ukrainian Academy of Sciences indicates that Ukrainians have a very positive view generally of migration.
So where are these stories and these online campaigns? Where are they coming from?
Well, there has been an analysis by IT experts in the Ukrainian office that counters disinformation. And they found that there are thousands, if not dozens of thousands of these reports, and most of them are traced to Russian-based Telegram channels and Facebook channels. And the goal there is quite obvious. It is to make Ukraine less stable, play on inherent fears that migration may destabilize a country. And my research shows that migration is a very potent issue in that regard because it creates the sense that central authority is weaker and therefore the country can change identity, the country can change the economy, economic opportunities may be restricted. And these are fears, these are exaggerated fears. But as the Russian proverb goes, fear has humongous eyes. And people in my surveys naturally exaggerate, always exaggerate, for example, the scale of migration in their countries.
And so, OK, so we have on the one side the facts and the figures show that there are only thousands of migrants coming into a Ukrainian workforce. Ukraine is far from being swamped. This is a deliberate policy of disinformation from Russia. How seriously, therefore, are the Ukrainian authorities taking this? And what, if anything, are they doing about it?
Well, I think that we see already quite a few steps being taken, as the reports indicate from the government agencies that deal with these information campaigns, but a lot more can be done. This needs to be quite a proactive enterprise on different fronts. In public relations, it is very important, for example, to emphasize that without a lot of these workers, a lot of whom we saw in your report, Ukraine may not be able to defend itself. And if the autocratic Russian machine conquers and occupies Ukraine, it's going to wipe out that Ukrainian identity for which these protesters mobilize. And it's a much bigger threat than those few thousand migrants. That can be emphasized through all kinds of visual and other campaigns. So a lot more can be done.
Right. Is Russia doing this anywhere else?
Oh, it's totally out of long-term Russian playbook. Russia spends hundreds of millions of dollars annually on those kinds of campaigns. In the United States, we have seen back in 2015, 2016, millions of various posts trying to polarize American society on issues like immigration. We have seen that across Europe to support parties, anti-immigrant parties, and various populist parties that would fan these flames of what I call immigration security dilemma. So that's completely not new. That's a very standard Russian playbook.
Thanks for talking us through that, Professor Mikhail Alexeyev from San Diego State University.
My pleasure.